I'm Amber Brien. I'm the percussionist bassist for PAS.
Is good art a product of inspiration or perspiration?
I guess it depends on your definition of what good art is. Art itself is a product of both inspiration and perspiration. Perspiration means effort that one requires to make their art, and of course inspiration is required for one to make their art, so I think they're sort of equal, at least in a non-physical sense. Although I would imagine some artists probably do sweat a lot when they're making their art. You know, they're having to do big canvases of things and stuff like that. Or even sweating it, you know, if they have a deadline or something like that that they need to meet. But if good art requires inspiration or perspiration, I think it definitely requires inspiration from where it doesn't really matter, I guess. But I think it would probably require inspiration, maybe more than perspiration, but you have to be inspired by something. I don't think you can just scribble out a bunch of stuff on paper or a canvas or record a bunch of musical beats or play a bunch of instruments without having some sort of inspiration in the background. You might not be conscious of it, but there's got to be some bit of inspiration that feeds you, because I would think in art, inspiration would be more like food. So I guess my answer would be inspiration.
Okay, so introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is John V.
Does art make a difference?
I've been talking about that to a couple assholes who think it's just a bunch of... God, I don't know, there's no argument for that. Of course it does. And artists... I don't know, making art is like pissing or shitting or fucking. It's a very natural thing to do, and it's just going to happen. And for people who doubt that it makes a difference, I would tell them to imagine a world without art.
Well, going away from the question of what do you think about censorship, I'd say, who would you censor?
I would censor Marilyn Manson.
Why would you censor
I would
Marilyn?
censor him because he sold out the underground. He sold out a lot of underground, real creative people, and stole them, and stole their style, and sold it to fat people in the South, and I don't know, ruined it for the rest of us.
So, do you think money corrupts artists?
See, that's the whole problem, is because after I shaved it, it did itch the next day.
Did you shave the money? Well, if you're not going to shave the money, would you shave the artists?
There's a couple, but first off, only on weekends. Second off, the whole thing is, that's it, that's the problem.
So introduce yourself.
My name is Michael, and I've recently joined PAS. Can I call it PAS?
Do politics and art mix?
Well, I think that that's a very interesting question. On the one hand, they're chemically different, so in a way they don't mix. You know, they're like oil and water. But on the other hand, you know, art just makes itself, right? People don't make art. People are quiet, and the art decides what it wants to be, and it makes itself through people. So if people view art as political, then that's fine. It's just a label. It's not really what the art is about, something to call it. And if some people think that's good, that's okay. If some people think that's bad, that's okay too.
So, there's a question about censorship and what do you think about censorship? But I want to ask you, who would you censor?
If I could, I think I would have censored, let's see, right now, the first thing that popped into my head was George W. Bush.
Who would you censor musically?
Kenny G. But I think he has the right to make music, and I would fight, and I have fought for him not to be shut down on principle, but in actuality, a part of me would like to censor him.
Please introduce yourself.
I'm Robert, in a project called PAS, Post-Abortion Stress.
What do you fear music-wise, Robert?
Music-wise, I fear overall compression and no dynamics in actual radio play for different musicians and pop culture. Everything on the radio is kind of compressed so much that you only hear one level of it, when a lot of other kind of beautiful music that you hear, one in particular is Soy Song, has a lot of depth, has a lot of different dynamics and variables involved in it, and everything that you hear on the radio is just its same kind of standard on one level. And there's so much more to it than just that level.
That's an excellent answer, Robert, from PAS.
Anything else you'd like to ask me while I'm here?
Yeah, who would you censor? Yeah, how do you word that one? How did you word it? Just cut for a second.
Well,
how did you word that?
I said,
If there was anyone you could censor now.
the question was, what do you think of censorship? But then
So it has to follow that. So let's start with that then. Okay?
We were veering.
Everyone around you is so stupid, Robert. Hold on a second.
We were veering off to.
Okay, so that has to follow that. So let's do that. Let's ask you that one.
Who would I censor?
Who would you censor? All right, and that has to follow the first one.
Okay.
So basically, yeah. And how do you word that? We don't have to word it. He can hear all this shit.
On the count of three, said.
Can you believe who he has to work with?
On a count of three, say who would you censor? One.
You don't want to answer the first one first?
No. Just say who would you censor? One, 2, 3.
Who would you censor?
Well, on a lot of occasions, on a personal level, I'd probably censor John Vomit of PAS. Just because sometimes I don't know what he's saying. On a major level, well, I'd probably...
Lady Gaga.
No, not necessarily. I'd probably just censor CNN altogether. That's why I took it off my homepage.